I think I have too much stuff. So in many facets of my life, I am not a minimalist, but I do like to maintain a very clean and curated, organized home because quite frankly, stuff stresses me out. As much as I love shopping and buying new things, I really think it's important to keep a fairly net neutral amount of stuff in your home because if you don't, it can get overwhelming really fast. A cluttered space can lead to a cluttered mind. And the other thing to take note of is that your home, your bedroom, all these places should really be treated like a sanctuary. We spend all day long kind of out in the hustle and bustle, at work, giving our time and ourselves to others. So ideally, when you get home, it should feel like a space that feels inviting and calm, not just another to-do on your list that's ultimately stressing you out. So in today's video, I want to talk about 10 signs that you have too much stuff. If you're feeling any of these things, then it might be a good sign that it's time to declutter. So let's get into it. Number one is that you're overwhelmed. You might notice this when you walk into your home, get into your car, or even open up your closet. Instead of feeling things like calm or inspired, you immediately feel stressed. But at the same time, getting started on reorganizing or decluttering that space feels so overwhelming that you just can't even get started. You may also notice this in places like your kitchen, your pantry, your office, or places like your basement or your garage. But with this, it's important to listen to your gut. When things feel neat, tidy, organized, and accessible, I think it's a lot easier to feel a sense of calm and peace in a space. But when it feels overwhelming and stressful, then take it as a sign to start decluttering. If you're not sure on where to get started with your declutter, I have a free decluttering checklist PDF that you can get in the description below, or I will leave a decluttering playlist so you can check that out down below. Maybe you can play them while you're decluttering. And make sure you're subscribed while you're at it. Why not? Shameless plug. It's good content, okay? If you feel like every time you do get the motivation or the burst of energy to declutter, but you find yourself getting stuck really early on or feeling really overwhelmed or defeated, this is definitely a sign that you own too much. I've definitely been there and it can feel overwhelming, especially if you decide to do the whole KonMari method of decluttering, which requires you to pull out everything of that item that you own and pile it into the middle of your room. This is really just to give you a good visual of all the things you own so you can start going through it. But at the same time, it can feel so overwhelming. So much so that you feel stuck and you can't move forward from there. If you tend to feel that way whenever you think about decluttering, I think it's important to kind of play by your own rules and think about starting small. Start with something like a junk drawer or the glove box of your car, maybe one drawer in your dresser, and get rid of a couple of things at a time instead of feeling like you need to do this whole power declutter in one weekend. Some people do thrive off of that extreme change, but it can be very energetically taxing, and sometimes I feel like causes you to get rid of things that you might regret later on. So definitely start small and try not to let that sense of overwhelm keep you from moving forward. Number 3 is that you've given up already. I almost like to call this a "f it" mentality, where you almost kind of get to a level of frustrated acceptance. You kind of just throw your hands up in the air and say, you know what, this is the way it is. Maybe I'm messy, maybe I just like stuff, maybe I'm a maximalist. And I think all of that is great, but throwing your hands up in the air and just saying "f it" out of frustration really, I think, ignores the issue, especially if it is stressing you out deep down. And I think it just perpetuates this cycle of feeling constantly overwhelmed by your stuff and your space. Number 4 is that you're stuffing. No, not like stuffing in a turkey. I don't know why I said that. I'm just like so cringe today. What the f***? You know, things like stuffing your drawers, you're shoving things out of the way just to hang something up. It becomes a struggle to put things away and tidy because there is just simply too many things in the way. I've been there. I'm starting to feel that with my jeans, not gonna lie. If you're finding that it's more of an effort to put things away than just throw them on the floor or on your favorite clutter catcher, you know that we all have one, then it might be a sign that you have too much and it's time to start editing. I think many of us have a natural tendency to fill up space that is empty, But I think that can quickly lead to the problem of becoming overstuffed and then feeling like you need to find more solutions to create space when really the best thing is probably to start getting rid of stuff. And speaking of feeling overstuffed / wanting to simplify, that's where I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, AG1. If you've been following me for a while, then you know I've been an AG1 stan for the past 4 years now. I've been drinking it literally every single morning since I started in 2020, and now it's become an integral part of my daily health routine. The AG1 supplement contains 75 vitamins, probiotics, and superfoods all in one daily serving with the aim to help support your focus, energy, gut health, and digestion without the need to take a bunch of different pills or supplements multiple times a day. We don't have space in this apartment to fill our cupboards with a bunch of different supplements, so I really like the convenience of taking one supplement a day. If you're trying it for the first time, I would say make sure the water is really cold or put ice in it, and it also mixes well into things like smoothies, so you can try that too. And if AG1 is good enough for Daddy Huberman, it's good enough for me. So if you're interested in simplifying your daily health routine, definitely give AG1 a try. They are offering my community 5 free travel packs plus a year supply of their vitamin D K2 drops with your first purchase. I'll leave it all linked down below. Thanks, AG1. All right, let's get back into the video. Number 5 is that you're spilling over. This sort of is the next step in feeling overstuffed, and it's that you start spilling over into other closets. Maybe you're taking over your partner's closet, moving things into storage and other rooms. This could be a sign that you do have too much. I definitely don't think you need to declutter for the sake of it, but I do think that we just tend to accumulate things over time, and if we don't edit regularly, then it can start to get out of hand. So I find it's very easy to just move into your next free space instead of thinking about ways to free up your current one. For example, in our condo, we do have a limited amount of storage space, so we really have to stay on top of how that space is filling up. For example, I'm not allowed to spill over into Jeff's closet if I find I ended up buying one too many blazers. And so with that, I need to keep my consumption and what I bring in check. Otherwise, I'm gonna have this same problem of too much stuff too. Which brings me into number 6, and that is you think your place is too small to hold all your stuff. I guarantee you it's probably not your space, it's the amount of stuff that's in it. As much as I dream, for example, of having a large closet, a beautiful walk-in with shelves so I can see all of my shoes and have them on display and make it feel like this amazing boutique that I can shop from, I know I will easily fill up that space. So instead of doing things like looking for a bigger house or apartment to hold your stuff or even renting a storage locker, take that as a sign that it's time to declutter. This to me is also a perfect example of the cost of having clutter. When you decide to buy something, it's not just the money that you pay up front for that item. It's the cost of maintenance. You pay later in time to maintain the thing, to clean up after it. There's a lot of mental load associated with it. And if you do get to a point where you're like, I need more space because we have too much stuff, there's even more money that you have to pay later just for the privilege of storing that clutter. So if you're thinking about moving it just to create some more space for your stuff, unless you're having kids, I feel like, then take that as your sign to start decluttering. Number 7 is that you forgot that you even own something, or you own too much of the same. I used to find this in my wardrobe all the time, especially because I tend to lean towards buying very similar items. I definitely know what I like and I have a certain taste when it comes to what I buy, but when I had no idea what was in my wardrobe, I often ended up buying even the exact thing multiple times because I forgot I owned it to begin with. It's a little embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie, but it is true. But if you have so much stuff that you don't even know what you own to begin with, that is definitely a sign to at least start going through what you own and getting familiar with it. It's gonna save you time and it'll definitely save you money. Number 8 might be fairly niche, but I found I used to do this a lot when I was like full blown into my shopaholism, and that is you don't open your packages right away. This could be things like you go to the mall and then you buy a bunch of stuff and then you just let it sit in the bags for a few days or even weeks. Maybe you forget to return it, or when boxes come in from places like Amazon or online orders, you just let them sit there. I think you can take it as a prompt to start digging deeper and evaluate why you shop and why you feel compelled to buy the thing. But I think this can often happen because we are already so overwhelmed by the amount of things that we already own. And then as soon as you open that package, all these other responsibilities and to-dos start to go with it. Maybe you have to try it on, you have to see if it works, you have to assemble it, you have to put the box away, you have to recycle it, you have to create the return label, you have to make space to put the thing away, you have to move things out of the way to be able to put it away. So there's a lot of things that I think can start to accumulate and make us feel so overwhelmed that we don't even want to open the box to begin with. But for some reason, we still feel compelled to buy and to order that thing and bring it into our lives. So if you notice that you have a tendency to do this, then take this as a sign to start going through your stuff, getting rid of things, and also take it as an opportunity to evaluate the why behind your buy. Number 9 is that you find yourself buying stuff to organize your stuff. Now, I am a fan of organization, and I definitely have discovered the glory of things like drawer organizers and other helpful organizational tools. I think all of those types of things have a role in your life to make things more efficient and make things easier. But I think it's important to consider what you can get rid of before you start organizing your things. Because sometimes I think going out to purchase more things in order to organize your clutter, it just turns into you spending more money and time on your clutter. Instead, I think it's important to go through your things, figure out what you want to keep, and then decide what needs organizing after that. And bonus, if you go through the stuff that you already own first, you might end up finding solutions and affordable DIYs that you can use at home to better organize the stuff you already have. If you want to see a video on all of my favorite tools for home organization, a lot of them are completely for free. You can watch this video right here. Number 10 is that you simply can't find anything when you need it. Yes, this could be an organizational problem, but this could also just be a stuff problem. The thing about having less, and it doesn't have to be the least, is that it just makes your life easier. When there's less in the way, you can see what remains more clearly, and it just makes for a more efficient and calm lifestyle every single day. It makes building habits and routines easier, and all in all, I think just makes your everyday a lot more efficient. Because I don't know about you, but if I don't know where my keys are every morning and I'm in a rush, it's stressful. It adds more stress and burden to my life. So if you feel like you're constantly doing that, constantly rushing around and looking for things, you can't find what you're looking for exactly when you need it, then yeah, take it as a sign to start organizing. But I think one of the first steps in organization is to declutter first. Let me know some ways that you start to know that it's time to declutter. Leave me a comment down below. Thanks again, as always, to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. And if you want to try them out yourself, don't forget that you can get 5 free travel packs and a year's supply of their vitamin D K2 drops with your first purchase. I'll leave it all linked down below. Thanks so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.